Hello, this is 48 Hours True Crime. Today, I'll be analyzing the case involving Chiayu Rana. First, I'll examine the background of the case, then summarize the lawsuit, and finally provide my analysis. Chiayu Rana was born around 1991 and raised in Vienna, Virginia, approximately 17 miles west of Washington, D.C. His parents were immigrants from Nepal, and his mother operated a home daycare business. After graduating from high school, Chiayu attended Marymount University before transferring to Rutgers University, where he earned a bachelor's degree in finance in 2013. Following graduation, Chiayu worked for several financial firms before eventually joining JPMorgan Chase and Company in March 2024. He worked in the company's Park Avenue offices in New York City, focusing on building business within the private credit industry. Near the end of 2025, Chiayu stopped working for JPMorgan after alleging that he had been subjected to multiple forms of misconduct within the company. On April 27, 2026, he filed a lawsuit against the bank, as well as an executive director and former co-worker named Lorna Hajini. The lawsuit was initially filed under the pseudonym John Doe, but it was later removed from the court docket. On May 4, 2026, the case was refiled with substantially similar claims. According to Chiayu's attorneys, the earlier removal was caused by a clerical error. Before continuing, it is important to remember that these are allegations only. Both JPMorgan and Lorna Hajini have denied all claims made in the lawsuit. According to the complaint, Chiayu joined the leveraged finance group at JPMorgan in March 2024 and quickly established himself as knowledgeable and capable. The lawsuit claims he earned the informal reputation of being the team's senior investment banker, allegedly closing more deals than anyone else on the team and frequently completing work for colleagues who missed deadlines. In April 2024, Lorna Hajini joined the group and allegedly became Chiayu's supervisor. The lawsuit claims that she frequently discussed her desire to be promoted to managing director by the end of the year, allegedly telling Chiayu that she would help him become an executive director if she received the promotion. Beginning around May 2024, the lawsuit alleges that Lorna began making repeated unwanted sexual advances toward Chiayu. For example, one incident allegedly occurred when she dropped a pen near him, then touched his leg inappropriately after he bent down to retrieve it while making sexually suggestive remarks. Another alleged incident took place on May 14, when Lorna invited Chiayu to share an Uber ride home after work. According to the lawsuit, when he declined, she responded with comments implying that she had authority over him within the company. The allegations escalated further over the following weeks. The lawsuit claims that Lorna repeatedly made sexually explicit comments, issued threats regarding his career advancement, and subjected him to racially offensive remarks tied to his South Asian background. One particularly serious allegation involves incidents said to have occurred at an apartment belonging to another individual identified only as Witness 1. According to the complaint, Lorna allegedly pressured Chiayu into visiting the apartment on multiple occasions, where non-consensual sexual encounters allegedly took place. The lawsuit also references another anonymous individual, Witness 2, who was allegedly present during one of the encounters in September 2024. According to the filing, this witness may have observed interactions between Chiayu and Lorna. Additionally, Chiayu alleged that other employees at JPMorgan made racist comments toward him and that he later received threatening and racially offensive phone calls from unknown individuals. On June 6, 2025, Chiayu claimed that JPMorgan retaliated against him by placing him on involuntary administrative leave. At the time this video is being made, the lawsuit remains active within the court system. Reports indicate that JPMorgan allegedly offered Chiayu approximately $1 million to settle the case, though he rejected the offer. Earlier reports also suggested that when Chiayu filed an internal complaint in 2025, he sought approximately $22 million in damages. After leaving JPMorgan at the end of 2025, Chiayu briefly joined Balyasny Asset Management before departing in April 2026. Now moving to my analysis. Through his attorney, Chiayu maintains that the allegations in the lawsuit are truthful. His legal team has suggested that additional evidence exists and expressed confidence that the facts would emerge through court proceedings. Meanwhile, JPMorgan and Lorna Hajini have firmly denied the allegations, describing the claims as meritless. According to the company, an internal investigation found no evidence supporting the accusations. JPMorgan also reportedly stated that Chiayu and Lorna never had a sexual relationship. This naturally raises the key question: are the allegations true? There are several factors that appear to support portions of Chiayu's claims. One media outlet reportedly reviewed screenshots of group text messages involving members of Chiayu's team in which co-workers allegedly joked about his Nepalese background and made racially insensitive comments. If authentic, those messages would partially corroborate at least some of the allegations regarding workplace racism. Additionally, the lawsuit references two anonymous witnesses who may potentially support aspects of Chiayu's account. If those witnesses exist and provide credible testimony, their statements could significantly impact the case. The reported settlement offer from JPMorgan is also noteworthy. While settlement offers do not constitute admissions of guilt, companies generally do not offer large sums of money unless they perceive at least some degree of legal risk. However, there are also factors that undermine the credibility of the lawsuit. Several individuals familiar with Chiayu allegedly described him as difficult to work with. Reports claimed that he could be socially awkward, highly critical of coworkers, and aggressive in competitive situations. Certain statements within the lawsuit also come across as self-aggrandizing. Claims suggesting that he unofficially functioned as the team's top investment banker or that he constantly compensated for incompetent colleagues may weaken the professionalism and credibility of the filing. Another issue involves Chiayu reportedly telling JPMorgan that his father had died when he stopped reporting to work in late 2024. According to sources close to the company, his biological father had not actually passed away. Chiayu's attorney later clarified that he had been referring to a father figure who helped raise him. Critics argue that this explanation raises questions about his credibility. There is also dispute regarding whether Lorna was truly in a supervisory position over Chiayu. If she lacked formal authority over his career progression, it becomes harder to understand how she could realistically threaten his future at the company. Another issue is the nature of many of the quotes attributed to Lorna throughout the lawsuit. Some of the alleged statements sound unusually theatrical and explicit, almost as if they were written to maximize legal impact. Critics argue that the dialogue sometimes resembles something from a fictional thriller rather than real workplace interactions. The lawsuit also layers multiple categories of misconduct together: sexual harassment, racial discrimination, coercion, retaliation, and conspiracy among coworkers. While such scenarios are certainly possible, the sheer scale and extremity of the allegations naturally invite skepticism. In my opinion, this is an extremely difficult case to evaluate based on the currently available information. On one hand, the lawsuit provides highly detailed allegations that, if true, would describe severe misconduct. On the other hand, the extraordinary nature of many of the claims demands strong supporting evidence. Personally, I suspect that the allegations may not be entirely accurate in every detail, but there could still be elements of truth within the broader story. It is possible that workplace tensions, offensive comments, or interpersonal conflicts genuinely occurred, and that these events later escalated into a much larger legal battle. One of the most important unanswered questions involves digital evidence. Are there text messages, emails, surveillance footage, rideshare records, phone location data, or witness testimonies that support either side's version of events? Evidence of that nature may ultimately determine the outcome of the case. At this stage, much of the case may come down to credibility, specifically, whether the court and jury ultimately find Chiayu Rana or Lorna Hajini more believable. Now, moving to my final thoughts. This case has drawn widespread attention because the allegations are extraordinarily bizarre and deeply controversial. Regardless of whether the claims are ultimately proven true or false, one thing is clear: someone's reputation is likely to be permanently damaged by this conflict. Either Chiayu fabricated shocking allegations against powerful individuals at a major financial institution, or Lorna Hajini engaged in serious misconduct against a subordinate employee.